Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Out there in Facebook land, YouTube land, wherever land you're watching this on. And welcome to Live with Ms. Kier. Show yourself some love.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight, I have a special guest, spoken word artist, poet, author of eight.
Eight.
Okay, let's count it now. Eight, all right? Eight self-published books. Her name is Genevieve Powell. And my co-host tonight is spoken word artist, poetess, spoken word. Now, we're supposed to have another guest that's supposed to be returning tonight. I mean, not Demi, excuse me, Dami Afayu. I don't know where Dami is right now, but he's also supposed to be a returning guest. He's a digital creator and book trailer and all of that good stuff. But in any event, we are going to get it started. And in my DMX voice, let's get it on. So everybody, show your love out there for my co-host, Poessence Spoken Word, and for my special guest, Genevieve Powell. Come on, snap it up. Clap, 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 clap. Snap it up, snap it up. Clap, 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 clap. Hey. Okay. So, Genevieve,
Yes, ma'am.
tell the listeners and the viewers about yourself.
Well, my name is Genevieve, and I reside in Cleveland, Ohio. I have 8 books of poetry that I have on Amazon.com. Um, I was originally born in Minneapolis, but I moved around. So I lived in Vegas for a while. I lived in Houston, Texas for a while. So I'm very, well traveled. And I am a mother. I am getting ready to be a wife to be. I'm a wife to be. And I am the owner of the Generation Network, where I teach how to use poetry for your mental health, especially in youth, ages 16 to 21. Especially nowadays where everybody's focused on their mental health, I found a way to use poetry to help with their mental health. So, yes.
Okay, Genevieve. Show your love out there, folks, for Genevieve Powell in the house. Genevieve. Hey, hey, Genevieve. And my Nikki Parker voice.
Right.
Well, Genevieve, welcome to Live with Ms. Kier.
Mhm.
Everybody out there in Facebook land, get your tea. Okay, tilt your hats to the side. Okay, because Genevieve is going to share some of her poetry with us later on. So, light your incense, get that vibe. Okay. We're on that Erica Badu and Jill Scott vibes tonight on this Friday night, last Friday in October. Okay. So, with that being said, Genevieve, what are
Mhm.
your hobbies? What do you like to do?
Oh man, my hobbies are I love to read. I'm an avid reader. I keep books with me at all times. I have a good 3 or 4 books with me. 2 of them are poetry books specifically, and the other 2 are maybe a couple of novels. One may be, fiction. One is nonfiction because I love reading anything that is, based around history, especially Black history. So I'm an avid reader. Um, I That's really basically it. My main hobby is I read. I read a lot. There's so much going on in the world that, having a hobby nowadays going outside is kind of difficult, um
Hmm.
so I'm definitely an avid reader. But I do love to go to cafes, especially, like anywhere they do spoken word. Here in Cleveland, they do spoken word every weekend, so I try to go every other weekend if I can. I'm starting to bring my son with me so he can see for himself because he's starting to learn stuff. So I let
Hmm.
him come with me, and so he can get a feel of what mommy do and what mommy loves. And he loves music also. So they have jazz music, classical music playing. So I like to introduce my son to different things. I don't want him to be into the rap nowadays. It's
Because
no.
it's trash.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
not doing that here. Not in my house, not. So I try to
I know
introduce
that's right.
things. But yes, yes, indeed.
Absolutely. Poessence, you want to ask Genevieve any questions?
So you said that you carry you carry books with you. Two of them are poetry books.
Yes.
What two poetry books are you reading right now?
Oh, yes. Oh, so um, right now I am reading. I actually just discovered this. This is actually an elder. His name is. I'm going to jack his name up, but his name is M.D. Hamilton. He's from the Watts Prophets. I think from the West Coast. He has a book called Ebony Creole Whispers. That's one.
Hmm.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, wonderful. And it's a very interesting book of work because I'm studying different languages and Creole is one of them. So this is
Okay.
actually, yeah, this is actually helpful. And I'm reading this big baby, African American Poetry, 250 Years of Struggle and Song, edited by Kevin Young. This is actually a
Okay.
rare find. You actually really have to look for this particular book of anthology of different kinds of poetry from literally from the 1800s to now. So yes, that's what I'm reading now.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, Genevieve. Snap it up.
Yeah. And I don't just read poetry. Actually, I study it. I analyze it. I break it down in different pieces so I can really understand what the other poet is really trying to say. So yes.
Okay. I know that's right, girl. Break it down. Break it down. In the comments, we have Teresa Hazel Eyes. Hey, Teresa. And we also have Latanya Davis from the Small Business Network. And we got Michael Connor, North Philly's finest in the house. And we have last week's guest, Maurice Huff. So Teresa Hazel Eyes said, hey, everyone. And Latanya Davis said, good evening, night, blessings and favor. And Maurice Huff said, hey, Tanisha and guests. And North Philly's finest said, love and respect. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Snap it up for yourselves.
Yes.
Okay. Snap it up for my co host, Poet and Spoken Word. Snap it up for her.
Yeah.
Snap it up for my special guest, poet and author of 8 published, self-published books, Genevieve Powell. Okay.
Mhm.
Get your tea out, light your incense, folks, because we are on that Jill Scott vibe, okay, and Erica Badu vibe. So get your tea out, light those incense, tilt your hats to the side, okay, and be breezy with us because we are breezy tonight. So you got to be breezy with us, okay. All right. So, Genevieve, um, how long have you been writing poetry?
Ooh wee. Man, I've been writing poetry since I was 9 years old. Um, what got me into poetry was seeing the movie Poetic Justice. Because I was a huge Janet Jackson fan, so anything Janet Jackson I was into, and when Poetic Justice came out, I was hooked. I memorized every poem that was in the movie, and my mother caught me one day reciting the poetry from the movie, and then she realized where the poems came from, and she told me it was Maya Angelou's poems that she was reciting in the movie. So she bought me a book for Maya Angelou's poetry, and I've been hooked ever since.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've been
Yes.
hooked ever since.
What is one of your favorite poems?
Ooh, by Maya Angelou.
Yes.
My favorite actually is Alone. A lot of people would say Phenomenal Woman because it's one of the most famous, but my favorite by her is Alone. And it's
Okay.
also one of the poems that was recited in Poetic Justice, ironically.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. My favorite one, well, I have actually 3. Phenomenal Woman,
Right.
Caged Bird,
Mm.
and Still I Rise. Those are my three favorite Maya Angelou poems. What are your favorite Maya Angelou poems, Poessence?
You just said it.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, the classic. Yeah, the
You
classic.
just said it. Like those are the classics. I can't.
Yeah.
I Still I Rise didn't hit me until I was like a young adult, really getting into the world and trying to understand my position while not letting the world and their opinion have too much to say about me. That's when Still I Rise hit. But yeah, you said the three right there.
Yes.
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 Okay, Dami is in the comments. Hi, Dami. What happened, man? We were waiting on you, man. What happened? What happened, man? What happened? In my Ricky Ricardo voice, what happened? What happened, Dami? Where you at, man? Okay, I mean, I know you're here in the comments, but I mean, where you at?
The plane, boss, the plane. Okay, let me stop.
Michael Connor, aka North Philly's finest, says, "I know why the caged bird sings and poignant." Oh yeah, I know why the caged bird sings. Love that book.
Yeah.
Uh, yes, love that book. Absolutely
That
love that
was
book.
that was actually one of the first books that I read, oddly enough, which introduced me to Maya Angelou. And it
Mm.
was like it was really good. And I was just like, I want more. Who is this?
Yeah.
And then I just went researching and I've been hooked ever since.
I
Yeah.
know that's right. I know that's right. Yes, Maya Angelou is a poetic icon. May
Yeah.
she rest in peace. Yes. So, Genevieve,
Hmm.
um, when did you decide to write poetry?
I want to say, ooh, long time ago, about good 15 years ago.
Mm.
I said, I have a bunch of notebooks with all these poems in it. I need to do something with it. So I it took me good 3 years to decide to do it myself because I was so focused on trying to find a publisher. And a friend of mine pulled me to the side and said, you can do it yourself. And back then, doing it yourself, there was a site called Create Space. And Create Space lets you upload your work and they'll post it to Amazon and to Barnes and Noble. And then they merged it and made it Amazon Publishing like 5 years later. So when I started, man, that was a time. It's so much easier now than it was 15 years ago because 15 years ago you had to really hustle and you had to do a whole lot of research before you actually put your book out. So good 15 years ago is when I started actually really getting into it, writing and putting books together.
Okay. Anything you want to add on that, Poessence?
I'm intrigued right now. Like I really want to pick her brain because I'm kind of working on doing that myself.
Yeah.
Um and I hear how you say it's so much easier. I don't feel like it's that much easier right now. But again, I think that a lot of it has to do with my desire for perfection because I know
Yes.
what's already out there.
Yes.
So I'm constantly like, no, because I know, like, I'm surprised that you found poetry books that you were interested in. I know that there are poets that read poetry books and things like that,
Yeah.
and I do some of the greats. But when it comes to like nowadays, it's hard for me to go into Barnes and Nobles and pick up a poetry book and be like, okay, I'm gonna read this. Once
Right.
I open it up, if the and maybe I'm not being very, what's the word I'm looking for? Fair. But once I open it up and the first poem that I see, if it don't catch me, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, no, I'm good. It's not going to resonate with me.
Yeah.
But the process where you were at that time to just say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna do it. Like what were you going through, or what space were you in when you just decided, like, I am going to write and put together my first poetry book?
So I was living in Houston, Texas at the time. I was a home health aide. for my mother. She was very sick at the time, and I was also working at night. So I had two jobs, and I was also going through a period of time where I was very depressed. I was laying in the house. The only time I went outside is if I had to go to work or go grocery shopping or take my mother to the doctor's office. Other than that, I was laying in the house, depressed. I was going through a breakup at the time, and I just remember I just kept writing because writing always helped me out when I was feeling down. So I just wrote poetry, poem after poem after poem. And after a while, again, I looked at all these notebooks full of poems and I said to myself, you know what? I need to get myself out of this dark space. And what can I
Mhm.
possibly do to get me out of this space? Um, One of the first things I did was I dyed my hair blonde. And then once I started the process of, I did a lot of the research. And once I learned what to do, I started putting it together. I noticed that I was getting a little bit out of the dark space because I was like really focused on what I wanted to do. So once I got into the groove of things, it was on and popping from there. But yeah, I was really in a depressive state when I first really decided to put the book together, and I'm so glad I did because it got me out of it. It got me out
Mhm.
of that dark space, and once I got out of that space, I just kept going because I was like, I can't go back to that dark space no more. And I love poetry, and I always said I wanted to write books, so I'm doing what I love to do, and man, and then working them two jobs. Can you imagine working two jobs and trying to write and research and read and dealing with a sick parent too, and then you're depressed? Can you imagine that whole 6 months? It was really a 6 month period of me
Mhm.
being depressed. So
Wow.
yes, I honestly don't know how I actually really got through it. I just did it. It's one of those things like I just did it. It was one of those feelings of I got to get out of this space, and whatever I got to do, if even if I don't sell any books, I wasn't really thinking about whether or not I was going to sell or not. I just wanted to get it out there because my first book, Shades of My Lipstick, because I kept
Mhm.
thinking to myself, there's different shades to a woman. We go through different stages. And so I was like, well, let me write some pieces of, what am I dealing with? My happiness, my joy, love, sex, heartbreak, family issues, self-esteem issues, and I put it all in Shades of My Lipstick. That's actually how I came up with the name of the book. And it was supposed to be Traces of My Lipstick, but then I remember that
Mhm.
the group Escape had that name for their album, and I didn't want to get in trouble for copyrights. So yes, that's exactly how
Mhm.
I started. Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Mhm.
Anything you want to add to that, Poessence, or ask Genevieve?
Well, she answered the question I was going to ask is how she, with the title, how did she come up with that specific title? But I like both of them. I'm glad that you went Shades of My Lipstick because when you said that, I kind of went in my mind the faces, the different characters, the different
Yeah.
hats that we wear as women, as caregivers, as mothers, and you know, being an employee and staff and all of those things from inside to outside.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I like that title. I'm gonna definitely have to look at that book. That
Yes.
grabbed me. See, I love it already.
Yes, that's the
Okay.
name of my first baby, man. I love my first book. My mother was the first buyer. She didn't even tell me until the book came in the mail. I think my brother helped her order it, and then when she opened it, she asked me for my autograph. And yes,
Oh.
Oh,
she was so proud of me. I didn't even know until she presented it to me. I was like, "Oh my goodness, are you serious?" Like, wow, like yes, she was actually the first one to buy my first book. She had the very first copy. Yes.
nice. Nice. Okay, so we're going to go back to the comments for a moment.
Mhm.
And okay, so Michael Connor, aka North Philly's finest, said, "Check out The Panther and the Lash by Langston Hughes. An excellent read. I
Mhm.
love Langston Hughes. That's my
Yes.
second favorite. Yes.
Oh
I
yeah.
love Langston Hughes.
And
Yes.
he used this.
Weary Blues, Mother to Son. Those I love those poems.
Yes.
Teresa Hazel Eyes also said, "Me too. I always wanted to write books as well. Poetry is definitely one of them." Now, Teresa, get your pen and your composition book. Okay,
Yes.
girl, get to writing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Get to
All right.
writing, girl. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And she also said, "Glad you got out of that dark place. It's hard to get out sometimes."
Oh yeah.
And Teresa also wants to know, Genevieve, where can she find your books?
Yes, you can find all of my books on Amazon, or you can go to my website, the Genovation Network. You can also get it directly from me if you like. I'm starting to order books now, but if you go to my Instagram at Genovation, you can get them from me. All you gotta do is DM me, and we can go through the details. Let me show you all of my books here. My new one, book number 8, isn't out yet. It'll be out in a few weeks. Dashiki Mentality, but here's 7 of them. Shades of My Lipstick is number 1. Untamed, part number 2.
Hmm.
Genovation, number 3. This is actually how I started my business. Um, wait, hold on. Number 4. Genealogies, number 4. This is paperback only. All the other ones is paperback and Kindle, but this one in particular is paperback only. Number 5, As a Black Poet Thinketh. As a Black Poet Thinketh Part 2. And Pumpkin Spice. They are all available right now on Amazon.com, both paperback and Kindle edition.
Yes, Genevieve, yes. For y'all out there in the land of Facebook, me and Genevieve, we go
Oh,
way back,
yes, we
like
do. We go way, way back.
MySpace back, way back. And I
Yes,
remember that's where I first met her. And I remember I was going on to the other site. What was it? The Black Singles Poetry Corner.
yes. I
And
remember. Oh,
I
man,
was like,
that was
come on over,
years ago.
Genevieve, come on over. And at first she was like, oh no. I was like, I got you. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, that was
So,
years ago. Wow.
yes, I know. Like when T Noodle was a little noodle, now she's a big
Yes,
noodle. Yeah.
yes.
Wow.
Oh,
I
there was.
remember I remember that. Like I remember that being new. I hadn't yet stepped on the scene, but I remember being a part of that group and just seeing like all the poets share their work and just like,
Yes,
wow, I wanna write like that. I want to be comfortable to share like that.
yeah.
So
Oh, yeah. There was
Yeah,
so
that was a good
great
time.
poets back then. Oh man, I wonder what they're doing now.
I
I'll
know.
look them up and see if I can find a few of them because
Well,
oh
what's her name? Benita. I
yes,
her and I can't think. Miriam. What was her poetic name?
I know. Wasn't Justine? Was it Justine?
Oh yeah,
Wonderment was one of them.
Justine is going to be on in a couple of weeks. But yeah,
Awesome.
she was on
Yes,
Justine and Big Heavy
yes,
and Richard Melvin and
yeah.
Make It Worth, who's a member of the Writers Block. Shout out to her. She goes by Jacidi M. Foy. Hey
Mhm.
Makis. Um oh man. It was so many. Oh, More Better Mo Blues. Yeah.
Yes,
Mo Better Mo Blues.
that was a time. Ooh, that was a time.
Yes, girl, yes. And what's her name? Rhonda, I Can Only Be Me. She passed away. And I didn't even know till like I think a year after she passed. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
But yeah, her and just like a slew of other great poets, and it was wonderful. And, that was a great spot. That was a great space. I loved Black Singles Poetry Corner. Even my
yeah.
mom was on that too, poetic. It was good times. And shout out to my mom. I don't know if she's gonna be watching later. She probably will. She always comes show love for me. So shout outs to my mom.
That's when I
Oh,
had a stage name. It was Lyrical Speech.
oh yes, that's right.
I'm
Lyrical
changing
Mm.
Speech.
it though, because I was like, I have an original name, so let me use my name. But Lyrical Speech was my name back then. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
Ooh, that was a long time ago.
Yep.
Yeah,
And when
yeah,
I was
that was
just
definitely
Kier,
long.
there was no Ms. It was just Kier, K-I-R. And then
Yes.
Yeah,
I
I was
became
just
Ms.
poetic at that time. Like that's
Mm,
all I could come up with. I was just poetic. Like,
right.
Yeah, my mom is poetic. My friend Isis Original from the Writer's Block, may she rest in peace. She gave my mom that name, but with a K instead of the C. So it's like Poeti capital K.
Yeah.
So yeah. Ah, such good times, good memories, good memories. Okay, we're gonna go back to the comments section. Commissioner Dr. James McConnell said hello everyone from the Small Business Network. He said,
hello,
let's
hello.
go full speed ahead. And oh, Pamela Askew's in the building. Hey, Pamela. Pamela, I got two books from Pamela. I still didn't get to the second one yet, but her first book, The Other Side of Childhood. I'm glad you wrote that, Pamela, because I was about to just totally mess it up. The Other Side of Childhood, My Truth, a collection of writings by 11 to 13-year-olds dealing with trauma to tell what childhood is like for them. Love that book. I highly recommend it. Me and Kanisha Love Taylor. Where you at, Kanisha? Because she read that too. Yeah, so shout outs to Pamela Askew. Yes, that was a good book. And Commissioner Dr. James McConnell said, love to read. And Teresa Hazel I said, I've been writing here and there. Girl, you gotta get your pen and pad and you gotta write more, girl. Shoot. And Pamela Askew also said, just order shades of my lipstick. Okay, Pamela.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank you
for
so
catching
much.
that up.
Thank
About
you. Yes. I hope
Pamela.
you enjoy it. That is my first baby. I really hope you enjoy it. Uh,
Pamela. Hey.
yes.
And um Teresa Hazel I said, you're right. I do and I will. Okay, Teresa, because you know, girl, listen, that pen and that paper. Okay. All right. In my Shanae voice. So, Janavia, Lord, it's been a
It's
day.
okay. I learned to embrace it. And next year in 2025, everybody with my new book that's coming out next year will understand why I'm embracing Genavia. So
Okay.
the name of my next book after this that she
All
can talk
right.
about. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a
All
reason for
right.
it. There's a reason for it. My mother, I used to argue with my mother because, yes, I love my name. It's a beautiful name, and no one really has this name, but you didn't spell it the way it's pronounced. So me and her used to go back and forth of why didn't you spell it the way it's pronounced? Like, what? Why didn't you do that? She's like, I just wanted it to be different. I was like, okay, but for the rest of my life, I'm going to be arguing with people about how to pronounce my name, and I did. So, but after I want to say good 7 years ago, I finally said, you know what? I'll just embrace them and mispronouncing my name because by 7 years ago I thought about changing my name. I wanted to give myself an African name, and then I thought about what people have already been calling me, and I was like, you know what? It almost sounds like an African name because everybody always said that Genevieve sounded French.
Mm-hmm.
My name was supposed to be Genevieve, but my mother could not pronounce that, so that's why she named me Genevieve. And
Okay.
so I said, I want an African name. And then I kind of looked at the way they pronounce it as Janavia. I said, it kind of sounds a little bit like has an African tone to it. So that's how I decided to, embrace it and use it in that way, in that sense. So, yeah.
Because for a long time, I thought that was how your name was pronounced.
Yes. Yes. You notice I never said anything.
Yeah.
So I was slowly learning to just embrace it because for the rest of my life, that's people gonna mispronounce it. So let me embrace it, and there you go. And I'm actually glad that I am embracing it. It shows growth in me as far, especially with my writings changed throughout the 7 books. You'll notice once from book number 1 to book 8, you will notice a shift in my writing. You will notice a shift in the topics that write about. You notice the whole growth as far as editing. Let me tell you, editing, the editing is a mess. For those of you that write and you put your book together, the writing part is actually the easy part. And then once you get into the editing stages, it's a whole nother ball game with the editing. So you'll notice the growth from book 1 to book 8, most definitely. Yes.
So when you said the editing part,
Yeah.
how when you started tackling the editing part, what in particular, like I guess it more so would be, what do you like call your form of poetry before I ask that question?
My form of poetry, I always say it's the freestyle form because I am
Okay.
more of a free spirit. I write what comes to me. I write what's in my spirit. If I'm feeling a certain type of way about a certain type of topic, that's what I'm going to write. I don't really
Mm-hmm.
I don't tie myself to only one form. When I first started writing, I used to be so focused on poetic forms. I needed to write it A B, and it was so uniformed to where I was like, okay, it's starting to stifle me. Let me break out of that. Let me try to form my own type of style and freestyling it, write what comes to me. That works best for me instead of trying to be very specific on which form. So I do both. I do dabble here and there in the
Mm-hmm.
poetic forms out there because there's different ones. There's a good 20 of them, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
more so freestyle with my work. That's how I do it. Yeah.
So when you freestyle, like, does that make the editing process even more difficult because you're freestyling and not staying to a specific form?
I actually think it makes it easier. When I was writing with the different forms, it was more difficult because I was so busy trying to focus on the form, because
Mm-hmm.
when you're trying to, like, it seemed like I was forcing it when I did the form. So the editing part made it more difficult because I was so focused on trying to stick with the form. Once I started to really freestyle everything, the editing became a little bit more easier because again, I'm freestyling. So I'm going through, okay, what am I feeling? I learned from Nikki Giovanni that there is no wrong way to write a poem. I also learned that having an editor is sometimes could be difficult when you have somebody else editing your work because they don't really know where you're going with it. They're going to go with what they think. Um, there was a moment where she was talking about one of her books that her editor and her got into it because she wanted her title to be a certain way, and the editor decided to change it. That's when I decided I don't want an editor. I'll do it myself because you're not going to change. You're supposed to. I'm paying you to do what I want you to do. I don't want you to change anything. I have it that way for a reason. Your
I
job is
know
to
that's right.
periods, or you're supposed to maybe fix some spellings, and that's it. You're not
Right.
supposed to just make it your own. So the
Right.
freestyling actually makes it a little bit easier now. Starting to When I first started freestyling, it was still a little bit difficult because I was trying to break out of the again, the uniform style of doing all the poetic forms. So I was trying to break out of it. So it started off a little rough, and then once I got into the groove of it, editing stages got a little bit easier.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah.
I know a few years ago, I had met this editor, and so I let him read some of my poems. And so one of them, he tried to correct it, and I'm thinking to myself, no, no, what we're not going to do is change my poem. This is how I wrote it,
Yeah.
okay? I said what I said. I wrote what
Yeah.
I wrote. You're not about to come tell me how I'm supposed to write my poem. Like,
Yes. Because
we're not doing
you
that.
just change one word and it changes the whole
Ye-
poem. You can
Yes.
if you
Mhm.
even add a decimal, like if it changes the whole poem. So
Right.
editing, it's a pain in the neck sometimes too when you're doing it yourself. But once you get a hang of it, it's pretty much easier. Again, you have to really find your own rhythm and what you want to do.
Yeah, my experience with that, like I've learned to corral my poetry friends
Yeah.
and those that enjoy poetry.
Hmm.
So they already know if I send you one, that's because I want your opinion. If I send you 10, I need y'all to divvy that up between the five of y'all and
Yeah.
tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Because my experience just even in college when I tried to take a creative writing class and the professor at the time was just like, no, 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 we need to write it like this. And I wrote for the magazine and this is how you should write. And I was just like, that's not why I got in this class.
Yeah.
I have
Right.
a skill. And that's kind of been, unfortunately, that's kind of been my experience a little bit is meeting people that want to not help me shape
Yeah.
my my form,
Yeah.
but more so change it into what looks aesthetically pleasing or more acceptable to society when it comes to
Yes.
what you think poetry is.
Yes.
So
Exactly. Yes. Most definitely. The
Absolutely.
freestyling, me freestyling is part of that. I wanted to have freedom. I didn't want to
mhm,
be, I don't want to be stifled. I don't want to feel like you know, like I'm in a box. I want to be outside the box. I want to create.
right,
I want to
Hmm.
creative is you're supposed to be out. You're supposed to be in the universe. It's limitless. So yeah,
right.
Yeah, I feel you on that because, like, a lot of times I'm just writing from like my experiences, and I don't need
yeah,
nobody to tell me how I should write. No, I'm
yeah,
writing this because this is the way I feel, or this is how I felt at that time. I don't need nobody
Right.
coming and telling me, well, you should do this. And no.
now
Mm-mm.
sometimes taking a class is a good thing because it's good to learn the basics. But once you really get into it, you start to learn your own groove of things, have your own mind and how you really want to do it. Then yeah,
Right.
but
So
it is good to know the basics.
So which when you say the basics, right? Because anybody can that's interested in writing
Yeah,
poetry and interested in learning poetry, you can easily go pick up a book,
yeah.
right? So is it better to take a class before you actually gain your own um form of poetry or your own style, or is it better to go in afterwards?
I want to say go before because at least you'll have a foundation. When you
Mm,
take a class, like when you do learn the basics, when I mean like again with the different forms, the poetic forms, when you master the forms, everything else falls into place because you have already mastered this. You've mastered the rhythm of it, the language of it, how to use vocabulary. You master that part. Once you have that part, that foundation, then freestyling and coming into your own will come a little bit easier. So I suggest for any new poets, take a class. Don't even have to really take it very long. Write a few notes, get
mm.
familiar with it first, and then again everything else will fall into place after that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back because I still haven't mastered a haiku yet.
Oh, don't
Me
feel
either,
bad.
girl. Me either.
It took me a while to do haiku. It
Me
took
either,
me a
girl.
while. I'm now advanced in it because again, studying. You can instead of taking a class, if you don't want to do that, you can study other poets that do different
Mhm,
forms. Nikki Giovanni is perfect.
She
Sonia Sanchez.
is.
If you want to really try to master the haiku, study Sonia Sanchez. I'm more advanced in it now because of Sonia Sanchez.
mhm,
Usually, when you do the haiku, you only see the three lines, right? I'm
Mhm.
learned now to take I can do seven haiku and make it one piece because of Sonia Sanchez. So you'll see seven different haikus in one piece. It literally falls in line as one poem instead of just having the one haiku here, one here. You can actually put it together. So I learned that from her. So I will suggest you could, look up different poets in that area and see how they write, and then that can actually help. that'll help you.
So I'm wondering, when do the class start? Because clearly you got the information,
Yeah.
you got the skill down. I just need to know when the class start so I could be there with my notebook and my pencil, because that's the only thing. Like I haven't, I try and it just be like, what?
Mm,
Yeah.
right.
Me too, girl. Me too.
Well, I am currently working on my curriculum for a poetry workshop where I will be teaching. It's mainly supposed to be for I want to reach young people, but it'll be open for anybody who wants to join. So sometime next year, I want to say in the summer of next year, my workshop will be up and running for people to join, and I'll be teaching different writing styles. We will be starting with the basics because again, you have to have the foundation, and then I will show you how to become your own and start your own creative style. So yes.
One time for Genevieve Powell, folks. Yeah.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you. Thank
yes.
you. Yes.
And back to the comments. Teresa Hazel Eyes, because me and Teresa, we go back. She says, yeah, these podcasts are definitely motivation. So I'm, oh, wait a minute.
Mhm.
Hold on. Okay. Yes, these podcasts are deaf motivation. So I'm getting there, girl. All right, Teresa. Okay, girl. Teresa also says, how much material do you need to have to create a book? What's a good amount to have?
Oh,
And
um,
Michael Connor says, never let anyone kidnap your creative control. I know that's right. Better snap it up for North Philly's finest on that one.
yes.
Shoot.
Right.
I have the answer for what's it, Teresa? So
Yes.
um there's really no specific amount for you to put a poetry book together. Years ago, it literally had to be a good 50 poems, 50 to 80 poems, like maybe like 10, 15 years ago. It had to be that amount. Now it's limitless. You can have 100, you can have 200. Um, it really all depends. Um, how it could be it depends on if you have a theme, if you don't have a theme. um so there really is no right or wrong amount. I would say starting off, if you're just starting, start with a good 60 to 70 poems, and then you can go from there when you put your book together.
Great
I'm
advice, Genevieve.
that is amazing advice. However, you just added 20 more poems to my book. Um, because I was like, we're gonna do just be a good 50, 25 each.
Yeah,
That
you can do 50 when you started
blue,
off. It's a whole
blue,
process. It really is a process. A lot of people think that putting a book together is so easy because you see a lot of people do it, but there's a whole process that goes with it. I do pretty much everything. I do the cover. I do the editing. I do the writing part. I do the marketing. So it's a whole process. And my advice would be, if make sure you are happy with it overall before you put it out there. You'll know when you're done with how many poems you want in your book. You'll know. And once you know, that's when you can go ahead and put it out there. No one can tell you when you're done or not. Only you know that. But when that moment comes, you be like, okay, you know what? I'm happy with this. This is how much is in there. Then you can put it out there. Yeah. But
yep,
it's a whole process. It really is a
It
process,
sure is. Yeah.
especially when life is lifing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes.
it's a process. Yeah.
But Blue Fox is finna to be mad at me because she finna to get about 20 more prompts to write
Oh.
some poetry. She getting ready to be mad at me.
Oh.
And I'm gonna tell her it's your fault. Be like, listen, she wrote 8 books, okay? She know what she talking about. Let's go.
I know that's right. And I know a lot of y'all still waiting for a public service announcement. I mean, y'all still waiting. Y'all being real patient. You're like, okay, where the book at? Where the book at?
You know what's funny? I was thinking about that last week, and something told me not to say nothing because again, I know what it's like because technically my 8th book was supposed to come out last year. So
Um,
I've been having some technical issues with this book number 8, which is the funniest thing. Like, why this one I'm having the most trouble? I didn't have no trouble with the other ones, but this one in particular, maybe because this one has so much truth in it that the world ain't ready for it. I don't know. Maybe it's God saying they're not ready yet. I don't know. So
hmm,
I didn't say nothing to you about, about your book because I understand. I do understand. Like I said, it's a process.
it is. And
Yeah.
shout outs to Antoinette Gross because she did the cover. She's an amazing visual artist, and she did some of the pictures for the inside of the book
Yeah.
for
I
my
love the
publisher.
cover. The cover is that is the dope cover.
It
It
is.
really is.
Shout
That
out
is
to
one of
Antoinette
the
Gross. Yes,
yeah.
that's my
It's one of
childhood
the
friend.
ones.
Me and Antoinette Gross go way back to like when I was in 10th grade and she was in ninth grade. We go back. That is my
Oh man.
homegirl right there. That's my sister from another mother. And so when I asked her to do this for me, and she just, she dove in, and I was like, bless you, because she is an awesome visual artist. She's awesome sauce, awesome
Yeah.
sauce. So shout out to Antoinette. And a public service announcement is coming.
Yes.
It's coming, folks.
And I love the title. I
Oh,
love the
thank
title.
you. It's coming. It's coming. All right, back to the comments. We have Michael. Oh, wait. Pamela Askew said, poetry is a free spirit. It is. Michael
Yeah.
Connor says, once you get into your own rhythm, free verse allows you to have a better understanding and insight to your range.
Yeah.
And Teresa Hazel said, okay, thank you. And Michael Connor again says, stay vigilant. When you get into it, you'll feel it all over, like Stevie's song.
Yeah.
And we have another viewer, Stephanie Seggers.
Stephanie Seegers. Yeah,
Oh,
that's Blue. That's actually
sorry.
my writing partner, Blue Fox.
Oh, she's in
She's
the
yeah.
building. Okay. Show your love. All right. Show your love. Okay. All right. Welcome, Stephanie. Sorry I butchered your name. My bad. So Poessence, you want to add anything else to what Genevieve said?
Just I mean, I do agree with taking a class or at least learning the basics. I do agree with that. Um, the only part that I would add is just don't allow it to get you stuck. Like
Yeah.
don't like take the classes, great. Have an open mind with what you're learning,
Yeah.
but don't get stuck in the process of how she was saying, like doing it within a specific form.
Yeah.
Write your poetry and then create your own form. I think that I'm stubborn, I'm hard-headed, I'm all of that. When I first wrote my first piece, and it was in 2000,
Mm.
and it was when I graduated, and it was like loving the inner me.
Mhm.
And that was after taking a creative class in high school,
Yeah.
where it was like, oh, you got to write a poem. We talked about this on the other podcast, where I thought everything had to rhyme, because
Yeah.
that was what was presented to me. Like the last word of the first sentence had to rhyme with either the
Mhm.
next sentence or the last line. And I
Yeah.
got caught up in that,
Hmm.
trying to make the rest of the poem make sense.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I became introduced to a thesaurus. Um, that was just a book that we carried in high school. We had to have it.
Yeah.
We didn't understand why. But
Yeah.
then when I finally cracked that one open, I was like, it's that many different words to say, look,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
I started thumbing through that book and learning different ways to say, to say the same thing,
Yeah.
two or three different ways. And you can only do that once you really do know the basics.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just can't get stuck in the basics of writing within the form that they're teaching you. Try it
Yeah.
out, test it
Yeah.
out. If it's not for you, if it doesn't work, if it doesn't click, okay, but you know the basis of it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like I said, that's the foundation, literally. That is
Right.
really the foundation. And then once you start creating, you can kind of piggyback off of that foundation and create your own style. So yes. Because let me tell you, the rhyming, it was expensive because I bought books. I was buying books. I bought 4 different dictionaries, rhyming books. Oh man, and it got expensive trying to do something I knew wasn't working for me. It cost me money. It cost me time. I wasted a lot of time trying to do something I knew wasn't working. But I'm glad I went through that process because now I know and I have the foundation. So, and I go back to that foundation when I am having like writer's block. That's another thing with taking the class and having that foundation. If you're having writer's block, kind of go back to where you started. You might get more new information. Some people say when you read a book a second time, you're going to learn something new that you didn't learn when you read it the first time. So it's always good to go back sometimes and kind of dip and dive into what you used to do, so you can create something new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, Genevieve, can you share 2 of your poems with us tonight?
I sure can. I had already had something picked out, but since we was talking about my first book, I think I'll read from my first book, and it's been a long time since I read from my first book. So I'll do one from my first book, Shades of My Lipstick, and I will do the poem Scars.
Mm.
You can't judge me by my cover. Just because you don't see scars on the outside of me doesn't mean they're not there. They're everywhere. I just know how to hide them well. Paint on my face to hide expressions that could tell stories. Soak in bubble baths full of musk oils to remove the scent of suffering. Managing a smile from clenching jaws so I don't blurt out truths of what really going on. Wear bright colored clothes to hide the baggage. I sometimes carry upon my shoulders and my back, walking with my head held high with an aching neck from hanging my head low to the floor behind closed doors. So you can't judge me by my cover. Just because you don't see the scars on my outside doesn't mean they're not there. They're everywhere. I just know how to hide them well. And that is
Mm.
scars.
All
Right.
right. Show your love out there, Facebook land. Are y'all sipping y'all tea out there? Do you have your incense lit? Did you tilt your hat? Yes. Snap
I
it
can
up for Genevieve.
Okay, I'll do another one from my first book, and this is actually inspired. I don't know if you know, familiar with the Punani poets and Jessica Halter.
Mm.
No, I'm not.
Really?
I
Yeah.
am. That's another podcast. That's
Yeah,
another podcast.
yeah. So
Okay.
she did a poem. Jessica Halter. She did a poem called "Next to Your Punani," and
Mm.
I kind of piggybacked off of it and did my own piece. If your Punani came and sat next to you, would she cross her legs or expose herself? Ask you how you been, talk about the fun things you did back then. If your punani walked into the room, would you open the window, let some air in so she can breathe, cool off? What would she be wearing? Lace black panties or a red G-string smelling like fresh cucumbers? Or would she talk about how bloated she is and say, now bitch, you know you bought the wrong tampons? If your punani came and sat next to you, would she ask to meet your friends, laugh and smile through her teeth about your relationships while sipping on cocktails? And to a man, would you be embarrassed to introduce her or excited and brag about her pouty lips and exotic hairstyles? If your punani came and sat next to you, would she tell you what she does for a living, birth giving, pleasure giving, teach you how to be a real woman and not mistakes, so you won't have to sit up in the doctor's office looking nervous, hoping she's okay? If your punani came and sat next to you, educated with her head held high and a smile on her face, would you be proud? If your punani came and sat next to you, what would you do? Would you smile? Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that's from Stage of My Lipstick. When I tell you this first book, man, when I tell you I was going through it, I was going through it. And I had so many feelings and thoughts and all kinds of stuff was going on when I wrote this first book, Shades of My Lipstick. So y'all make sure you go get it on
Yes,
Amazon.
yes, yeah. I'm gonna have to talk to you after the show. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, 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 yes. Yes.
Was inspired by Jessica Halter. She's from California. She does this thing with the Punani poets. She started it
Mm-hmm.
because of the death of Eazy-E. She wanted to spread
Mm-hmm.
the awareness of AIDS and HIV in the Black community. So that's that's where I got it from. Yeah.
Okay.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, I have to talk later.
No, oh, it's funny. I love it.
Wow.
Listen, that was very tasteful,
It
and
was.
it is not often. It is not often. I have had some experience, but we'll talk about that another time. But anyway, I have that was very tasteful and
It was.
respectful, and
It
I
was.
love it. I love it. I love a poet that can talk about something that is literally, placed in such a category where it's like you cringe at even saying the word and even
Yes.
hearing the word, but you articulated that so well and
She
expressed
did.
yourself so well that
Thank
my
you.
thought process really wasn't like on the word itself, but just
Mhm.
how you describe that. Like, how well
Yeah.
do you treat yourself? How much
Yes.
respect do you show yourself? I love
Yes.
it. Listen, I'm gonna be
Exactly.
quiet.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. I had it in my mind of, especially we as women, young women in particular, especially nowadays, we seem to put everything out there. With
Mm-hmm,
social media,
mm-hmm,
everything is out. There was a time where we were a mystery. You could say
mm-hmm.
certain things and you knew exactly what we was talking about, but it was tasteful. You know,
Right.
Right.
I kept that in mind when I was writing my first book as well, and I had to also think about my mother. my mother, my mother was like, "Look here, you can write what you want to write, but make sure you respect yourself when you do it, because if you don't
Listen.
respect yourself, no one else will."
You're
And
Mhm.
you're absolutely correct. You are
Yeah.
absolutely correct. That is why I only chose I have a few poems that go in that category.
hmm
Um I feel like they're very tasteful.
hmm
However, with publishing, thinking about at that time of like publishing a book, I'm like, "Oh Lord, my parents going to read this." And
yeah,
then I made the mistake, right? Is I invited my siblings, my sisters to a
Mhm.
show.
mm,
And that was it was one of the poems that was requested.
yeah,
And my little sister, who is now like in her 30s now, I'll never forget it. And we were at the oh my goodness, what is it called now? I can't remember. Blue Fox, you know what it's called. I can't remember. But
yeah,
it was a spot in Philly. It shows up on Jill Scott's video, I believe, Long Walk. She
mm,
walks past it in the video. Can't remember
yeah,
what it was. But neither here nor there. I remember inviting her and my sister Tracy to, to kind of see what I do.
hmm
And I started with that poem, and I don't know whether it was within 10 to 15 minutes,
hmm
but they had my mama on the phone, and they was like, and you would not believe what she was saying in here and breathing. And
mm,
when I got home, I was a whole adult. And I
right,
got home, my mama wanted to sit down and have a conversation with me. I was like, I draw the line. We are not talking about it.
right. Well,
Mm.
let me say this now, because just like I just said about the respect and everything with the first book, I kind of went through a period right after that with the second book where I took a turn, because I started to say, okay, ain't nobody really buying this first book for real, so let me get people's attention, and that's when I came up with book number 2, Untamed.
I figured that. I figured that.
Yeah. So there was quite a few women that did message me and say, you know what, that's nice and everything, but there's still some women out here that feel like they can't talk about sex or talk about, their private parts openly, and sometimes they want to say it. They want to come out and be, confident in their sexuality. So I wrote Untamed for them, and it's a little too confident. It is
It really is
it does
untamed.
have it does have a vulgar side to it. But I'm actually quite proud of this one because there was a time where I was also feeling like, my confidence wasn't there in my sexuality. Again, when you're not taught this when you're a little girl. You're not
Right.
taught to pleasure
Right.
yourself. You're always taught, if you had an old school mother like I did, you're supposed to keep your dress down, and you're supposed to, cross your legs and act like a lady and cover up your cleavage and, stuff like that. So I didn't have the confidence. And then, in your early 20s, you're supposed to have, supposed to be feeling yourself for real. And once I once I wrote this book, oh man, the response I got, this was actually my bestseller because everybody, again, it was raw, it had some vulgarity to it. So yes, Untamed. And the name
Now,
Untamed is basically I'm in control of my
mhm,
sexuality, not you. You're not going to control me. You're not going to bound me to just being a lady. I'm still a woman. I'm a lady, but I'm
absolutely,
a woman. You know,
absolutely.
yes, and
Now,
I have a tad bit of hoe in me too. Like
I
a
can't co-sign on that. I can't co-sign on that. I'm a
tad
married
bit.
woman.
You're
I
not
can't
gonna
co-sign
see
on
it.
that.
You're not gonna see it. It's for those
Child.
who are worthy of it. But but that was my inspiration was the women that hit me up and said, you know what, there's some women out here that needs a confidence boost in their sexuality. So that's where Untamed came.
Absolutely, absolutely. Writing, I will say, like writing some of my, I don't know if I could say that, I guess more erotica,
Yes.
my erotic poetry. I
Hmm.
found that, and I love where you went with that because I found that because I was performing that, that
Hmm.
was something that was most requested over, you know,
Yes.
when you go to the open mic spots, at least back then, it was and you were well known, they knew what poem they wanted to hear. And there were people that came to the show specifically
Yeah.
because they heard it last week and they
Yeah.
were like, oh, you want to be there? So introducing, Poessence, and then can you do ooh wee?
Hmm.
I wanted to talk about the Bible and Jesus.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Yes. So you
that's
can
not what I want to
imagine.
talk about. Just I wanted to, I was trying to be saved again.
Right.
And they didn't want me to do that. And I was just like,
Hmm.
I guess, but I did have a hard time. My point for saying that is that I did have a difficult time accepting the fact that people really were interested in that more than they were interested in I'm walking in my journey, I'm
Yeah.
healed, I've noticed this part. That was difficult for me. So with you writing Untamed and that being your bestseller, like how did that make you feel at that point?
It made me feel good. Um it also kind of made me feel a little maybe I shouldn't have did it because you know what I really wanted to write about I was actually afraid to put out there, which brings me to my third book, Genovation. Because I took a whole another route right after I did Untamed. Um,
Okay.
and so doing Untamed was like, I was glad it was my bestseller, but that's not what I really wanted to really put out in the world. I wanted to talk about other things. There was so many
Right.
things going on at the time when I put Untamed out. Trayvon Martin was murdered. The Sandra Bland thing happened, and there was so many other things going on, police brutality, and there was all kinds of stuff going on in the world that I really wanted to put out there, but I was actually hesitant because I wasn't sure how people would take it, because again, there was so many things going on already out in the world. I was like, well, maybe they not ready to read about it because there's already stuff going on, and they last thing they need is someone saying this is what's going on when they looking at it on the news, right?
Right.
So I
Right.
had that fear, but then I finally was like, you know what, I'm just gonna write it and see what happens. And let me tell you, Genovation, let me tell you, I thought I was really doing something. I thought I was educated on a lot of different topics, and this is literally 8 years for this book. And now that it's 8 years later, I can definitely tell you I didn't know a damn thing when I wrote Genovation. I didn't know what I was talking about. For real. I knew a little bit, but after I done educated myself on a lot of different things since, I can honestly say I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. And this one is actually the worst seller. No one really bought Genovation because, like you said, everybody wanted the erotica stuff. So everybody was actually really expecting another Untamed from me, and I took a whole shift, and it didn't. No one shifted with me, at least not until book 4 came out, which watching. I don't know if you're familiar with Hidden Colors by Tariq Nasheed. Because of that, I wrote book 4, Genealogy, because that's when I started to really just accept myself and what I wanted to really write about. That's how I got the confidence to write what I really wanted to write about, which was everything Afrocentric, everything about our people, everything that's going on with us. So that's how I got to Genealogy. The whole journey of my books are very, very, very interesting. But the erotica, writing the erotica was, again, my bestseller, and trying to get people to follow me after that, even though I made the shift, was very, very difficult. It was very, very difficult. They follow me now that I continue, I stay consistent. I think that's why people are following me now, because I'm consistent with my topics. I'm not jumping from one to another like I was when I started. Um, but like I said before, it's a process. When you start off, you don't really know where you fit in. So you kind of dip and dab into damn near everything. And once I found my spot, which is all the Afrocentric, all the Black power, I want to help people. I don't just want to talk about sex, because that's the number one topic, and one of the reasons why we are the way we are and in the predicaments we are in, because we're so busy having sex. There's so many other things going on. We don't even know what's going on. So that's how that started. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Mz.KIR, I was just about to tell you that he was in the private chat and he wanted to come in.
Well, folks, ladies and gentlemen, we now have Dami Afayu. He's in the building. Show your love for Dami. He's returning. Dami
Hello.
was on a first live with Mz.KIR back in September. He was on with fellow Writer's Block member Taria Busby. And so Dami wanted to return and share his experiences since his last appearance on Live with Mz.KIR. So with that being said, Dami, the floor is yours.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm
Hello.
happy to be here once again.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here once again. As you all know me, my name is Dami Afuye. I'm a freelancer. I'm from Nigeria. I work as a freelancer. I work with authors, not only authors, any business person that needs maybe like websites, book trailer, social media awareness, and also I'm into translation now. If you want to translate your book from English to Germany to any different type of language, me and my team, we can work that out. So I'm happy to be here once again. Thank
All
you very
right.
much.
Show your love, folks, for Dami.
Yes.
Alexis, do you have any questions for Dami that you'd like to ask him?
Um, What are some of the people that you some of the projects that you've worked on since you were on the last show?
Okay. Uh, about the project, I've worked with Mz.KIR,
North Philly
social media.
Flyers. He's in the building.
Yeah, yeah. So I did social media awareness for him. Also a Facebook page. I created a Facebook page for him and a book trailer. Like 3 projects from him. And also I work with Latasha. That's Latonian Davis. Yeah.
Okay.
Latasha
Yeah.
Jefferson Rocks. And he also worked
Mm,
with Pamela Askew as well.
yeah.
Okay.
So I work with some people with my skills. And I still love to work more with many lots of authors.
All right, show your love for Dami.
Awesome.
We're gonna go back to the comments and let's see here. Ooh, got a whole lot here. Uh, Teresa Hazeleye said, "Untamed is the warning, so you good." LOL. Michael Connor said, "Parental discretion is advised." Teresa Hazeleye said, "I need to find some open mic spots so I can build up some confidence because I'm on the shy side." Don't be shy, Teresa. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't
No,
feel
I
bad,
will.
Teresa. I'm a little shy myself, so doing open mic is I'm still working on that, on the shy part of getting up there and actually reading my stuff. So I'm actually nervous doing this, and this is live on Facebook and YouTube. So I actually understand, Teresa, most definitely. But once you
I,
find that confidence, you'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
I will say going to the open mic spot, for some, yes, you do find your confidence. And others, it don't make it no better.
Yeah.
It just it because when you're going to the open mic spots, for me, and I know and that's how me and Blue Fox met, going to Dowling's Palace, and the other spot that I can't remember the name right now, but we went there, and one spot is like more of a close knit spot, and then Dowling's Palace was like 12 steps higher than that. It was more professional. Going to the small close knit spot, yes, that will help you build your confidence. But if you find nowadays a lot of the spots are like definitely more professional, you get scared. Like that shyness comes, and then you start stuttering and falling all over your words from a poem that you done recited back and forth. So I would recommend, because they do have like the call-in spots, and you got the TikTok and the Facebook and the live and stuff like that. Just get on there and write with a close-knit group of people that are going to be honest with you, but also support you in your process. That's how I would feel like if I would have had those avenues back then, I probably would have come to the stage a little bit more prepared than I was. But I'm grateful that I went to those spots in the levels that I did, because now I will get on stage and I'll have 2.5 seconds right before they say, "And Miss Poesson's spoken word." I'll be, "Oh my God, I'm finna go out here. Oh, okay, let me breathe." Soon as they get it out, I get up there and and I still have to talk to myself. Pace yourself. Don't rush through what you're saying. They want to hear you, regardless of whether or not you hear chatter in the background. They still want to hear you. Somebody listen.
That's right. Absolutely. And I was saying on another podcast how I got started going on the stage was because I was in this job program way back in the day. And we had to stand up and we had to introduce ourselves. And I had major stage fright. So when it was my turn to get up, I got up and I talked so fast. Nobody knew not one word that I said. My hands were sweating. Sweat was coming down my face, rolling down my back. My underarms were sweating. It was crazy. And I just sat down and people was looking at me like, what? What did she say? They had no clue. And Mr. Robert Mason, bless him, was like, all right, we got to do something about this. So then he was like, okay, I need you to read the newspaper every day. Stand up, read the newspaper. And I was like, newspaper? I don't want to read no newspaper. So then I told him, I said, well, I write poetry. Can I read my poems? So that's how it started. So every day I got up in front of everybody and I read my poems. And then they started clapping for me. And I was like,
Yeah.
wait, clutch the pearls. They clapping for me? I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we on to something. And so that's how I started with that. And then I met my mentor. Shout out to my mentor from the Precious Promise Art Circle, Miss Deborah Cheney, because if it wasn't for her, there would be no writer's block.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, okay, because they used to have the New Brunswick Free Public Library used to have like an anthology yearly, and Miss Deborah was like, okay, well, you're gonna have to read your poem. I'm like, all right, well, I'm good now. And so then T Noodle, when she was little, she used to come up to the stage with me. She would just stand there.
Yeah.
As I read my poem, she would just be standing there looking, just standing there, chilling in the cut. And that's how I, got it. And, ever since then, I love the stage. I'm like, yes, give me a
Yeah.
stage, give me a stage. I'm ready. I am ready. So, Teresa, it's going to be okay, girl. It's going to be all right. Back to the comments. Michael Connor said, go to my Facebook page and you'll see for North Philly's Finest to see Dami's work. And Genevieve put in www.thegenovationwork.com. Sign up for her newsletter and become a member on her website. All members get all access to exclusive content, okay? Exclusive content such as books and poetry, readings, and podcasts. So that's Genevieve. Show y'all love. Show you love, Genevieve. Genevieve, she rock. Back to you, Dami. Do you have any further questions for Dami, Poessence?
No, not at the moment. Not at the moment.
Okay. Whew, it's been a long night. So, Dami,
Yeah.
what other projects are you working on currently?
All right. So currently, right now, I'm not working on any projects right now. I'm
Okay.
free. I'm not working on it.
All right, folks, you heard that. He's free. So if you got a book, Dami is your guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Dami is your guy. Michael Connor said, he recommends him. Dami is your guy. It's your guy,
Yes.
folks. Yes. Genevieve, back to you.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Genevieve, top 3 poets, past and present, that would get like the pen, because like on the Source magazine, you get the 5 mics for the hip hop. Well, who are your top 3 that get the pen, the 5 pens for poetry,
That's
past
really
and present?
that's actually hard to just choose 3.
Yes, girl.
Okay.
3.
Let's see if I can narrow it down. Nikki Giovanni,
Absolutely.
Mz.KIR Moore, Amiri Baraka.
Okay.
Top 3. Yes.
Top 3. Top
Yes.
3 4 pens. All right. Okay.
Yes.
I hear that. Yes. Top 3. All right. Um, time is going by so fast.
It
Okay.
is.
So, Genevieve, what is your deepest joy about writing?
Oh, that's a good one.
They call me Topra.
Just the creativity of writing. When you write, you can be as creative as you want. There's no limits to it. It's like you're out of space. Like there's no final frontier really. You just go with it. Just go with the flow of it. The pen takes you on journeys that you never really imagined. Like you'll have something in your head, but then once you start, it could take a shift and take you somewhere else, and it's a wonderful journey. So I would say the creativity is what brings me joy of the writing. Yeah, most definitely.
All right. Okay, I know that's right. I'm gonna go to Dami real quick. So Dami, what was your first experience on live with Mz.KIR? What was that like for you?
Um, it was awesome, very very awesome. That's my first time coming live. That's my first time. I was like, oh, this is a very great opportunity for me to work as a freelancer. Because coming live, you are going to meet a lot of authors, you are going to meet a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
business people, authors, podcaster, and so on and so forth. I was very happy to be here. And when I'm done with the podcast, with the live last time, some people
Mm-hmm.
just keep messaging me. They want to do this, they want to do that. I was like, wow, this is beautiful. I just need to come back and thank you for everything, for the opportunity that you
You're
have given
welcome.
to me. Yeah. So that's the reason why I've stepped up my game, to bring something different to the table for the authors. New skills, new things to help them in their book. So I'm really happy once again to be here.
Mhm.
Happy to have you, Dami. Happy to have you. Got a lot of feedback though. Um, on your end. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's like a little echo, like. Um, but yeah, Dami, not a problem. Glad to have had you on the first show, and glad that you got a lot of opportunities from it, and glad that you were able to come back on this show and talk about it. Okay, we're gonna go back to the comments. Let's see. Michael Connor, aka North Philly's finest, says check out his work. His trailer is amazing. Genevieve said, "Yo, Michael, I'll definitely check out your FB page." Michael said, "You won't be disappointed." Michael is that dude, North Philly's finest. Okay. We gotta wrap this up because the time is going so fast. So, Genevieve, can you share one last final poem for the night?
I sure can. I can read you a piece that's in my upcoming book, Dashiki Mentality. If I could just find it.
Just
Wait,
in the air or X?
yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with Rome Neal. He does the banana pudding jazz thing in New York.
No.
Janisha, I know you're in Jersey. I would think you would know because you're so close. You're closer to New York than
Yeah,
but,
but I don't know him. Sorry.
Rome he was also an actor, but he's also a jazz musician. And he does this open mic thing where he called Banana Pudding Jazz and Poetry. And
Oh, cool.
I wrote a dedication piece to him because his work is phenomenal. You can actually go on YouTube and look him up and check it out for yourself. So this piece is for Rome Neal. Did the banana fritters satisfy your craving? Did your taste buds sing in jazz strings and dance like trombone vocals? Did your heart beat to the rhythms of pudding, banana pudding that is? A sweet tooth for poetry in motion, a black history moment after moment. Did the wafers melt into sugared studs on your lips? A New York City trip, a Nuyorican poets cafe, vanilla, chocolate, caramel latte kind of day. A Mary Baraka mix with the last poets, Gil Scott Heron bass, Rome Neal on a Monday. Did the creme's cream of brown sugar, cinnamon, and vanilla extract cool you down from a slow cooking movement of Jamaican oxtails, a Malcolm X Day celebration with the elders and the new generation, a crown royal on ice of copper skinned folks gathering together for a supreme of a special treat? Did the pudding make love to your soul? It is the reason why they call it soul food. Rattle your bones so you stomp your feet and slow grind with the nod of your head. A grown and sexy piece filled with black people peace and freedom. Did you want another piece? Me too.
All right. Snap it up for Genevieve,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
formerly known as Lyrical Speech.
you.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, girl. Yes.
Yes.
So, Genevieve, How can people reach out to you?
Oh, yeah. You can reach out to me through my website, www.thegenovationnetwork.com, or you can reach me on Instagram at Genovation. You can email me at genovation@gmail.com. You can I really want you to go to my website. My
Go
website
to
has
her website. Go to her
everything.
website, folks.
Has everything. And so I just put it in the comments. I'll put it in there again. Out to me on my website. You can sign up for my newsletter and become a member. Membership is free until January 1st of 2025. It is free right now. So become a member. Members get all access to all exclusive content, from books to my book club that I do every Saturday, which is my Generation Book Club. You get poetry readings, you get my poetry blog, you get everything on my website. So make sure you become a member. Members get all access to exclusive content. So that's
All
exactly
access.
yes.
All right. Genevieve, do you have any projects coming up? Any collaborations? I know I've
Uh,
been trying to collaborate with you for my remix for internally.
yes, yes, I know. I've been going through some stuff. Like, again, life be lifing, but I'm
Mm,
definitely open to collaborations with you, Miss Ma'am. I'm ready to write because I love it when we collaborate. We've
yeah.
collaborated a few times, and I
Yes,
love
we have.
love to collaborate again on some pieces. So I would definitely hit you up with some
A lot of
pieces.
awesomeness came from our collaboration. Lots of awesomeness.
Yes. And so what's coming up next? My new book, Dashiki Mentality, coming out next month. Um, Literally in a few weeks. So I can't wait. I've been working on this piece, this book for quite some time. It's some of my best work. You know how you don't want to say what's your favorite, because technically all of it is your favorite. But I always said that book number 4, Genealogy, was my favorite out of all my books. But I have to say that this new book, Dashiki Mentality, is my favorite. So I can't wait to share it with everybody. It's some of my best work. So that's what I have new coming up, is this new book, Dashiki Mentality. I can't wait till this book come out. Oh my goodness. Oh, I can't wait.
Yes. And finally, Genevieve, do you have any shout outs you would like to give?
I would love to give a shout out to you, Miss Tanisha Jacob. You are my biggest supporter. You are my best friend. I absolutely adore you, and I thank you so much for your love and support. You really, you've got me through some tough times these past few years, and you don't even know it. Uh,
Oh,
so
wow.
I want to give this out to you, and I want to thank you for having me on your platform, because this is really, really dope. I enjoy talking with you. I enjoy talking to Ms. Poessence. I actually love your name, by the way, Poessence. I love that. It's
Thank
very,
you. Thank
very, yes, that's creative. I love that. Oh my goodness. It's going to inspire me to write a piece. It might be a title or something. I don't know. We'll see.
you.
Oh,
We will see.
inspiration here tonight. All right.
Yes, indeed. So, most definitely. And Dami, I am going to hit you up because I might need help with a trailer for my new book, an introduction. Because I
There
want to
it is.
Yeah.
do a book launch release party online. So that's why I might hit you up, Dami. Talk about prices. I got a feeling you're expensive.
Ah,
We'll work it out. We'll work it out. I'll hit you up real soon. So yes, but thank you
all
so
right.
much, Tanisha. Thank you so much. I shout yeah.
Oh, big hugs. I love you.
Yeah.
Dami, do you have any shout out? Oh, I'm sorry. How can people reach out to you, Dami? My bad.
Yeah, people can reach out to me through my Facebook because that's what I use most. So just search for Dami Afuye. You are going to see me. Yeah,
Okay. And
yeah.
any shout outs you like to give tonight, Dami?
Big shout out to you for the
Thank
opportunity,
you.
and big shout out to my team because without my team, I cannot be here.
Yeah.
So big shout out to them. Yeah. So and also I want to talk about, if you can give me just a few minutes to talk. So now I think as an author, you need to step up your game because your book need to reach more wide audience.
Mhm.
Not everyone understand English. Not everyone can read English perfectly. So you just need to, translate your book to another language.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been working with on that for like a month now, and I see that okay, we have some issues. Some people love to read books, but they don't know how to read in English.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they read in their language, German, French,
Mm-hmm.
Korean, Japanese, and so on and so forth. So you just need to do it to translate your book to another language.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need me to help you to translate your book to another language, I can give you some languages that's okay. Their book is selling.
Yeah.
So that I can help you to translate it. Me and my team, we can translate it to another language for you. So also, um, I'll be expecting your message, Mz.KIR.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to work with you and also do a social media awareness for your book that is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to meet everybody. I'm happy to work with everybody.
Okay.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Bless you too.
Bless you too.
She said,
Miss Poessence, any shout outs you'd like to give?
um, well, I'd like to give a shout out to my husband, Patrick Urban, um, my biggest supporter, um, my sister Regia Dunbar, and my sister Tracy Rivera. Those are the two that came to the first set that I read that poem and told on me, but I still love them. They ain't have to tell on me like
They
that.
snitched on you.
They did. They snitched on me heavy too. It was life altering. I didn't stop doing the poem though. I just stopped inviting them. You have to learn the process. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, my husband Patrick Irvin and my sister Regia, who also writes, and she also she used to dabble in rap a little bit. I don't know if she still does, but
Okay. I love my
yes,
hip
yes,
hop.
yes. And my sister Tracy, those are definitely the three people, and most of all you,
Thank you.
because you allotted me an opportunity um that I didn't know was available.
Mm-hmm.
You just out here being a blessing to people.
Oh, I didn't even know. Wow.
You're here, out here being a blessing. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, Poessence. Yes, girl. Yes. Any other shout outs? Are you done?
Yep, that's it. That's
Oh,
it.
okay, well, I like to give a shout out to, again, North Philly finest, Michael Connor. Shout out to you, Miss Poessence, spoken word. Shout out to you, Dami. And shout out to my friend, Jennifer. And also my peeps, Teresa, Hazel Eye. Shout out to you. And shout out to James. Oh, James Ellaby. James Ellaby, yes. Gotta shout him out. Yes, James Ellaby was on the show let's see, 2 weeks ago with Orlando Chandler. James Ellaby, you rock. And he's gonna co-host in 2 weeks with me. So yes, James Ellaby, yes. And also, let's see who else. Did I say Pamela Askew? Got to shout out Latasha Jimerson. She's awesome sauce. She's a author. She's a book coach, and I'm going to take one of her classes because I'm gonna need it to help coming out with this book already. So shout out to Latasha Jimerson, Shanine Young, awesome MC for the Pajama Writing Summit. Shanine, you got to come to the show. Got to come to the show. You and Latasha. Oh, that's going to be awesome. Yes, I'm putting it out there. Shanine Young, Latasha Jimerson. I would like to also shout out the past guest, Karaji Yashar. My daughter T Noodle, the young poet, the young retired poet with an old soul. Shout out to Lil K. Well, big dude now. Shout out always to Deborah Cheney, my mentor. Because, like I said, if it wasn't for her, there would be no Writer's Block Poetry Collective. Shout out to Brothers Rising. They're going to be on soon. The Brother Network to the Writer's Block. Brothers Rising going to be in the building. Shout outs to James Parrish because he was on the first real Mz.KIR live podcast. Him and Jonathan Ware. Shout outs to them because they still the fan favorite 1.1K. Let's see who else. Yes, Taria and Henry Busby, my favorite couple, aka the Writer's Block members. Shout out to them. Yes, Henry and Taria. And let's see who else. North Philly's finest, Taria. And oh yeah, this is episode 321 of the Small Business Podcast / episode 10 of Live with Mz.KIR. Shout out to everybody watching each week. Shout out to my mom. Shout out to my cousin. How I gotta forget him? My cousin Scott Jacob was on here last week dropping gems about the prison system. I was deep. That was my cuz. And also shout out to Maurice Huff and all my small business network peeps. Sean White, Latanya Davis, Indigo Divine Brown, Commissioner Dr. James McConnell, Gladys Bryce, Cassandra Pickett, Shannon Hudson, all them and all my other peeps. You know who you are. Oh yeah, Antoinette Gross and the visual artist, my friend, love her, who also illustrated my book, and Kanisha Love Taylor. Shout out to them as well. This is Tanisha, aka Mz.KIR, MZ, capital K, capital I, capital R, stands for Keeping It Real, the poetic lyricist. This was live with Mz.KIR. Thank you all for watching. I wish you love, peace, hair grease, happiness, soul, and edges, because edges matter. Y'all be breezy out there. Peace.